first time we'll be live streaming a swearing-in ceremony, and I'd like to welcome our online viewers. This recording will also be available on demand, on video on demand, and please note that attendees tonight may be recorded. I'd like to begin by recognising the cultural diversity of our great city and paying my respects to the local Indigenous people of Moreland by acknowledging that we meet on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people. I offer my respects to the Wurundjeri elders, past and present, and to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Now, as you know, tonight we're here to swear in our elected candidates so they can take up their roles as councillors. I'd like to introduce our elected candidates in attendance here tonight. They are Natalie Aboud, Sue Bolton, Anna Olivia Carly-Hannon, Helen Davidson, Alia Farnley, John Kavanagh.
Good evening.
Dale Martin,
Everyone.
Samantha Ratnam, Mark Riley, Lambros Tapanos, and Oscar Yildiz. The officers in attendance tonight are our Director of Corporate Services, James Scott, our Director of City Infrastructure, Grant Thorne, our Acting Director Planning and Economic Development, Sue Vucevic, our Director Social Development, Arden Joseph, our Executive Manager Organisation Development, Anita Craven, and our Manager of Property and Governance, Olivia Wright. And also I'd like to welcome all of the wonderful families and friends of our elected candidates. Welcome. There are, I believe, no apologies tonight as all are in attendance. And similarly, I don't believe there's any declarations of interest or conflicts of interest in relation to tonight's agenda. Now, as we know, council elections were held on Saturday the 22nd of October, and the Victorian Electoral Commission declared the poll at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday the 3rd of November in this room. It is a statutory obligation under the Local Government Act for elected candidates to do two things before they can act as a councillor. So first is to take the oath or the affirmation of office, and second is to read the councillor's code of conduct and make a written declaration that they will abide by the councillor's code of conduct. I will now call on each of our councillors-elect to take the oath or the affirmation and to sign the code of conduct. I call on Natalie Aboud to come and take the affirmation. So if you would take the affirmation to the gallery.
Sure. I, Natalie Aboud, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of the municipal district of Moreland City Council, and faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1989 or any other act to the best of my skill and judgment.
And if you could declare that you've read the code of conduct.
I hereby declare that I've read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Moreland City Council, adopted on 14th of June 2016, and I declare that I will abide by this code.
Thank you. If you could sign here. Congratulations, Councillor Aboud.
Thank you.
I now call on Sue Bolton to come forward and take the affirmation.
Sorry.
I, Sue Bolton, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people in the municipal district of Moreland City Council and faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1989 or any other act to the best of my skill and judgment. I hereby declare that I've read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Moreland City Council, adopted on the 14th of June 2016, and declare that I will abide by this code.
Congratulations, Councillor Bolton. Olivia Carley-Hannon to come forward and take the affirmation.
I, Anna Olivia Carley-Hannon, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people in the municipal district of Moreland City Council and faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1989 or any other act to the best of my skill and judgment.
Declare that.
I hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Moreland City Council adopted on 4th of June 2016 and declare that I will abide by this code.
Congratulations, Councillor Carley-Hannon. I now call on Helen Davidson to come forward and take the oath. So if you hold the Bible in one of your hands, take the oath.
I, Helen Davidson, swear by Almighty God that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of the municipality of Moreland, and faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers and authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1989 or any other act to the best of my skill and judgment. I hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Moreland City Council adopted on the 14th of June 2016, and I declare that I will abide by this code.
Congratulations, Councillor Davidson. I now call on Alia Afanli to come forward and take the oath.
I, Alia Afanli, swear by Almighty God that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people in the municipal district of Moreland and faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under Local Government Act 1989 or any other act to the best of my skill and judgment. I hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Moreland City Council, adopted on 14 June 2016, and declare that I will abide by this code.
Congratulations, Councillor Afanli. I now call on John Kavanagh to come forward and take the oath, or the affirmation.
I, John Kavanagh, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of the municipal district of Moreland City Council, and faithfully and impartially carry out functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1989 and any other act to the best of my skill and judgment. I hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct, Moreland City Council, adopted on the 14th of June 2016, and declare I will abide by this code.
Congratulations, Councillor Kavanagh. I now call on Dale Martin to come forward and take the affirmation.
I, Dale Martin, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the Office of Councillor in the best interests of the people in the Municipal District of Moreland City Council, and faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1989, or any other act to the best of my skill and judgment. I hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Moreland City Council, adopted on 14th of June 2006, and declare that I will abide by this code.
Congratulations, Councillor Martin. I call on Samantha Ratnam to come forward and take the affirmation.
I, Samantha Ratnam, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the Office of Councillor in the best interests of the people in the Municipal District of Moreland City Council, and faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1989 or any other act to the best of my skill and judgment. I hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Moreland City Council adopted on the 14th of June 2016 and declare that I will abide by this code.
Congratulations, Councillor Ratnam. I call on Mark Riley to come forward and take the affirmation.
I, Mark Riley, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the Office of Councillor in the best interests of the people in the Municipal District of Moreland City Council, and faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1989 or any other act to the best of my skill and judgment. I hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Moreland City Council adopted on the 14th of June 2016 and declare that I will abide by this code.
Congratulations, Councillor Riley. To come forward and take the oath.
I, Lambros Tapinos, swear by Almighty God that I will undertake the duties of the Office of Councillor in the best interest of the people in the Municipal District of Moreland and faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1989 or any other act to the best of my skill and judgment. I hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Moreland City Council adopted on the 14th of June 2016 and declare that I will abide by this code.
Congratulations, Councillor Tapinos. I now call on Oscar Yildiz to come forward and take the affirmation.
Okay. I, Oscar Yildiz, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the Office of Councillor in the best interest of the people in the Municipal District of Moreland City Council, and faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers or authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1989, or any other act to the best of my skill and judgment. I hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Moreland City Council adopted on the 14th of June 2016 and declare that I will abide by this code.
Congratulations, Councillor Ewings. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have a council. Congratulations. On behalf of the officers in this organisation, we'd also like to congratulate you and to welcome you. We're really looking forward to working with you and delivering your vision and supporting your stewardship of this city for the coming 4 years. So we're very excited to be working with you. I'd now like to call on councillors to nominate an interim chairperson for the remainder of this meeting.
I nominate Councillor John Kavanagh.
Is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Riley. All those, are there any other nominations? All those in favour? All those against? I declare that carried. Welcome, Councillor Kavanagh.
Councillors, thank you for appointing me interim chair for the first meeting of the new council. Prior to considering 2 council reports before us tonight, I would like to invite each councillor to say a few words before we begin. And we'll begin with Councillor Aboud. And please, when you're speaking, please stand to the audience. Thank you.
Thanks, John. So what I notice, what I feel right now is that the excitement and anticipation in this room is palpable. The energy of all of these new people who, well, mostly new people who have arrived at the table today is really positive, and some of us are already making relationships, and I think that what that means for the city is a really positive thing. I need to acknowledge personally that I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. Some of them are out there in the gallery, and that quite a lot of people were responsible for helping me get where I am today, because I spent most of the year sitting on that side of this table in the gallery, wishing that I could be on this side of the table. And I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really looking forward to representing particularly the North East Ward, but especially the city as a whole. I think that what we have up here is a very fair and real representation of the people who live in the city, and I think that that's a really good thing. And I stand here very proudly as a member of the Greens, but I think that regardless of our political ideology or ambition, we will be able to work together to get the best outcome for the city. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the term. Thank you.
Councillor Bolton.
Hi. Thank you very much. I'd first of all like to acknowledge that we're standing on Aboriginal land today, land that was stolen and never ceded, land that belonged to the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. And as a result of that theft of land, there is a lot of intergenerational trauma by Aboriginal people. And we had experience of this in Moreland through the campaign to save the Ballot Moot Aboriginal school site, and that really led to Moreland last year beginning the process of beginning a treaty discussions with the Wurundjeri people, and I certainly, for one, will be pushing for that to go the next step through that whole process in Moreland. I think it would be really important if Moreland is the first council in Australia to adopt a treaty. I also think one of the big issues for Moreland is the cost of living for a lot of our citizens in Moreland. There's an incredible housing crisis. There's a real, in parts of Moreland, in particular in Fawkner and the northern part of northern suburbs of Moreland, a lot of unemployment, underemployment, people on insecure work and low incomes. And I think council has to think about ways in which it can ease the cost of living pressures because this is, it's absolutely onerous on people and leads to the real crunch when the rates notices come in or people being pushed out of living in Moreland. And I know a lot of people who've been pushed out of Moreland to Craigieburn and further afield. And I think for this reason it's important that Moreland continues to push for public housing to help resolve the housing crisis and for a rent cap, and the right under state government law to force developers to provide genuinely affordable housing, and while also taking some practical measures to help with issues like homelessness. I think these are really critical issues, and I think we need to put the pressure on state and federal governments to fund local government properly instead of having this constant pressure for massive increases in fees and charges. I also think for our citizens, it'll be important to maintain our home and community care services and look after people with disabilities who may not be covered by the NDIS when it comes in. And I think it's going to be very important for us in Moreland to push for an improvement in basic amenities, such as some of the most basic things like public toilets and water fountains in public areas. It's going to be important. Another big issue for us is to improve standards of development so that developers can't get away with cramming developments onto every square inch of a site. And that means we need to campaign for changes in the state government laws. But I also believe that we need to put our shoulders to the wheel to win back residents' third-party appeal rights and mandatory height limits for the central activity centres. That's a really critical issue, including stopping the destruction of heritage at Pentridge. We need something better than a large number of high-rise towers jammed together really closely. On cycling, we need to build the missing link as well as really do whatever we can to improve cycling safety in Moreland, especially in the northern part, but all over Moreland, which means an increase in the budget. And on climate change, we need to, while we're moving towards 100% renewable energy, we need to enact Moreland's policy around extreme heat waves and call on the state to enable councils to set up heat relief centres when there are periods of extreme heat. And finally, I hope that Moreland continues to take a strong stance against racism and discrimination while we've got a federal government that's increasing racism and discrimination, because a large number of Moreland citizens are experiencing incredible pressure as a result of prejudice and discrimination, and we need to take a strong stand. We need a Moreland that is for community need, not developer greed. Thank you.
Just before I call on the next councillor, it was remiss of me not to acknowledge that we have former councillors present, including former Mayor Mark Higginbotham, former councillor Joe Canellan, former councillor Lenka Thompson, and I'm sorry if I've missed anyone else that's in the public gallery. Welcome and thank you for your attendance tonight. Councillor Carly Hannon.
Good evening, everyone. So my name is Anna Olivia. I'd also like to begin by acknowledging that we're on the land of the Wurundjeri people and pay my respects to their elders past and present. As somebody who has grown up in Moreland and benefited from services like playgroup, the maternal child health centre, childcare, and then our local sporting clubs, I'm hoping to one day benefit from the aged care services that are also provided here one day, and also to see them supporting my own parents, and they have also supported my grandparents in Moreland. So something that's very close to my heart is ensuring that Moreland continues to provide and improves the services to our community, and that we really ensure that we are benefiting our community with the best possible services in sporting clubs and in our infrastructure like bike paths, active spaces, and I know that we've already started talking amongst this council, and there's a lot of people who are really passionate, and especially with the North East Ward, and both Natalie and Sue are from the North East Ward, so as already heard that we've got a lot of great plans. I would have to start by also saying that I wouldn't be here if it weren't for all the support from my campaign team, and my friends and family and the local community who've supported me, voted for me, and I know that they're going to keep really high expectations. And so, I'm really looking forward to working with everyone in this room, and can't wait to get started. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Davidson.
Thank you. Thank you everybody for coming this evening, and I would like to give a personal thanks to my mother, Nancy Davidson, who's sitting in the audience, and my father, Robert Davidson, who are here this evening. Thank you to all the family that have attended this evening, because your support as the most intimate people involved, help assisting the other councillors here, has driven their campaigns and has been of great assistance. And my mum, who is my campaign manager, my best friend. And thank you for that horrible day where everybody stood out in the cold and the rain. I was waiting for it to start snowing. It was absolutely terrible. Thank you for coming, and thank you for voting. Thank you to the people of the North West Ward for entrusting me again, for giving me this huge responsibility, which I do not take lightly. Where every decision I will invest my best, my intelligence. I will use the skills of the council, the skills of the officers to make the most deliberative decision that I possibly can on your behalf. And I look forward to working with the other councillors from the North West Ward, two which were our incumbent councillors, Councillor Oscar Yildiz and Councillor John Kavanagh, and Councillor Dale Martin. I'm looking forward to seeing what improvements we can make for the North West Ward and for the whole of Moreland. Thank you.
Councillor Varley.
Thank you. It's a tough act to follow. I've taken down some notes. Apologies for that. I'm a bit nervous. But thank you, Councillor Kavanagh. Thank you, Narina, council officers, and thank you, residents. Look, I feel honoured to have been elected into this position. My family and I are so thankful to everyone who has entrusted me with their vote. I'll be working hard to make you proud and hopefully get good outcomes for this community. Look, I can't wait to get started. I've already met with a number of council officers, and through those meetings, I've been informed that I'm the first Moreland City Councillor to have been elected that is a resident of Fawkner. Now, I'm of course proud to be the first, but also aware of the responsibility I have to better represent my suburb back to Moreland City Council. I am proud to be the son and grandson of a migrant family. As in a lot of ways, I believe that the migrant story has helped shape me into the person I am today. When my grandparents made the difficult decision to leave their home and migrate to Australia, they did so knowing that they would be sacrificing so much in order to provide opportunities for their children. When my father migrated here with little English, he worked extremely hard. Often he had to work 2 jobs at one time in order to look after his family. My mother gave up her career in order to care for her 4 children. She did so to ensure that they grew up with nothing but love in their lives. I try every day to live by those values instilled in me by my family, to take every opportunity to work hard and to do so with love and respect. These will be the values and approach I take to this amazing responsibility of being a councillor. Finally, in closing, I just wanted to thank some very important people who helped get me here today. Tom and She, thank you for being there for me from the start and for helping me with whatever I asked for that question. I'm very lucky to be able to call you guys my best friends, thank you. Frank and Shamla, thank you for staying in touch and reaching out to me to check in on how my campaign was coming along. I've learnt so much from you guys and your advice is always welcome. And finally, my family, especially Mum and Dad, thank you. I'm so lucky to have you guys part of my life. You said that I have made you proud in getting elected. Well, I can tell you I'm so proud to be your son. Thank you, everyone.
Councillor Martin.
Firstly, I'd like to say thank you for everyone for coming tonight. It is an amazing crowd, and I'm going to be extremely scared if this continues every council meeting. Firstly, I'd like to say a very, very special thank you to my friends, my family, and to most of all my beautiful partner for helping me out over the last couple of weeks. For without your support, I would not be here right now. People often told me that I was crazy wanting to do this job. And I must say, morning after morning in the rain, getting regularly swooped by magpies delivering flyers, standing in those 100-kilometre-hour winds up in Glenroy, I occasionally thought, oh, maybe they're not too far off the mark. But the one thing that has continued to motivate and inspire me over the last few months are the amazing people that call this city home. Thank you for continuing to invite me into your lives and invite me to be part of your story. It will bring me no greater joy than to work with you over the next 4 years to build on our shared vision for Moreland, and in particular the Northwest. Today, I am excited. I am excited for the possibilities that are before us, the possibilities that we as a community have voted for. I am greatly humbled by the electorate and the faith they have put in me. I congratulate and look forward to spending the next 4 years with this fantastic group of councillors that are sitting next to me, and look forward to learning from the guidance and expertise of our city CEO and staff. Working together, we can build the cohesive, accessible, inclusive community that our city has voted for. One which continues to welcome diversity, protect those in need, and cherish the contribution that our older residents have to offer. I want to see small business in Moreland prosper, where we can encourage businesses to innovate and grow while harnessing the amazing potential that a cleaner, greener economy has to offer. Let's allow sporting clubs and community gardens to thrive, with more trees and open space for a healthy and active community to grow. Let's continue to make a cleaner and safer city for all residents, one where we protect our natural environment by making smarter decisions, not just for our generation, but for the next. Let's continue to act and grow in our role as a strong voice for our community, where we stand up to the bad decisions from our state and federal counterparts, one which engages with people and asks the community for input into decision making. We have the opportunity before us, the opportunity to set a new standard in local government representation here in Moreland. A new standard which we can make a real difference to the community in which we represent. So I thank you all once again for your support, and I'm looking forward to the next 4 years. Thank you.
Councillor Ratman.
Very much. Good evening, everyone. I too would like to acknowledge that we meet on the lands of the Wurundjeri people, and I'd like to pay my deep respects to elders past and present. And I hope that our council will keep our First Nations people and our need to restore justice for our First Nations people front of mind in every decision and everything we consider over this next 4 years. I'd like to thank everyone for entrusting me with your support through this election campaign and re-electing me for the South Ward. Thank you to everyone who put up their support behind me, to everyone who helped in the campaign, in a long campaign season. We would not be here without your tireless efforts. I'd like to congratulate all my fellow councillors, and we indeed have a fantastic group of councillors ready to work for the City of Moreland for the next 4 years. Thank you for your hard work, for your determination and for your sacrifice, because it takes all of that to be where you are right now, and it will take all of those elements for us to really do great work over the next 4 years. It's such a privilege and honour to serve the city as a councillor, and one of the reasons that I got involved in local government was because our family benefited from really strong communities when we migrated across the world, and I know what it's like migrating to Australia and moving into communities where there are very few services for young people to go and meet new people, to get connected and feel like they belong in a community. And I know what it's like to move into a place where you instantly feel like you're embraced into a new community. And everything that a local council does can shape and change people's lives for the better. And that's why I have dedicated my time to work for this city. I'm so excited about the next 4 years. We have so much work to do. There has been so much that's been accomplished by the great councils and councillors that have come before us, many of whom are with us here in the audience tonight. Yet we have some critical issues confronting us. We are charged with looking after the shape of our city and the future city that Moreland can become and is becoming. We have critical questions around improving the quantity and quality of sustainable and affordable housing for people, to create a city where we can move around so we have active transport and sustainable transport for all, cities where we can breathe, where there's enough open space and tree shade to ensure that we can mitigate the effects of climate change. We've got to create a city where people feel connected to each other and indeed truly feel like they belong here. I'm looking forward to Moreland becoming the first zero carbon city anywhere in Australia, and I think this council can help achieve that. I'm really looking forward to working with this wonderful calibre of councillors around this table, because I know if we put our heads down, work together with integrity and with goodwill, we will indeed accomplish so much.
Councillor Riley.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone who's come tonight and those who are involved in my campaign. This is the third time I've stood for public office. I've stood at a federal level, and now this is my second time at a local council level. I'm very pleased to be here tonight and thank all those who supported me, my family members who come tonight, my mother who can't be here for that. I grew up in a rural area, and I was raised with sort of a Catholic tradition, and from a very young age I was moved by those who need a helping hand or some sort of assistance, and those kind of values have stayed with me throughout my life. And I went into teaching, and you can do a lot of that work there and give your hand out to young kids who need it. But I also learned a lot about potential that we have, and everyone here tonight has potential. My fellow councillors have showed the potential they got, and I know some of them have already shown us what they did in the last term, the terms that they've been here. And I'm looking forward to working and to release and unleash some of that potential in this term of the council. So I invite you to be part of that. I invite your other people that you know in the city to be part of that. Fairness and social justice are also other values that I'm very passionate about. Many things I could talk about, but one of the things that stayed with me was growing up through the HIV/AIDS crisis. And I was very active as a volunteer in that campaign, and also managed to get paid work through that. So I kind of had various experiences. I also got involved with the Gay Men and Lesbians Against Discrimination in the 90s when we tried to amend the Victorian Equal Opportunity Act, when Jeff Kennett was the Premier at the time. And I learned a whole lot about how you work with communities from all backgrounds, all parts of the city, and how you can actually achieve together and get results. I'm also very passionate about the fact that we, as an open and welcoming nation, or at least I thought we were at one stage, started to close those options off to people who are coming here for refuge and asylum, and particularly targeting those with voter rivals. And it was at that time that I joined the Greens, and it was also at the same time, 15 years ago, when I actually made one of the best decisions of my life, and I actually found a house that I could afford and moved and lived here, and it's been one of the best things I've ever done with my partner Tony. So I'm really looking forward to working with my fellow councillors, with the staff here, and with you community members. I want you to engage with me. I want you to debate with me. I want you to challenge me. And I'm going to do the same to you. I'm going to engage you. I'm going to actually debate you, and I'm going to actually challenge you to work together to make this a much better city than it already is. And to that end, a lot of things I want to do, but just quickly, 3 things. One is about the housing, because I managed to be able to buy in here, and I actually own my house, but I'm very concerned about those who can't, and I want to work around social and affordable housing issues. And I know the council's already lined up a whole lot of things, and we're going to go gangbusters there, and I want you to pay attention to what's going to happen, because it's going to be very exciting. I'm also wanting us to double the number of trees that we plant each year in our city. Trees are one of the most important things that we can do for our neighbourhoods, for all of the reasons that we've already heard. There's been wonderful things I'll share. There's nothing I object to what you said, my fellow councillors, so I'm looking forward to working with you. But we want to get a lot more shade, we want to get the cleaning that those trees do, and we want to provide the biodiversity that those trees do in terms of homes. And I want to get us down to zero carbon emissions and get us up to 100% renewables for all sorts of things that Sue and Sam and others have said as well. So I'm really excited about what we have lined up here as a council. I look forward to working with you, and I invite you to work with me. And thank you so much. I look forward to
to doing some of those things and more. Thank you so much.
Councillor Tapanos.
Thank you. May I begin by thanking the residents of Brunswick, the residents of the South Ward, for their trust and confidence that they've placed in me to represent them in this chamber. I've been on the council now for 2 terms and this is my 3rd. And over that time, we've achieved so much together as a council. We've achieved a lot of good policies and a lot of good change. We've provided good services, essential services to our aged and our young families. And we need to continue to do that into the future, particularly under the pressures of federal funding cuts and a growing population. We've attempted to implement good change in regards to planning for our city, to make sure that we have good quality development, good quality apartments, but also make sure that we protect our neighbourhood character. And we need to continue to do that into the future, which will be one of our major challenges. We need to make sure we're providing good community facilities. In the last term, we fixed the Brunswick Baths, the Brunswick Library, and now in the next term, it's the time for the Pascoe Vale Community Centre, the Oak Park pools, and many other community facilities. We need to make sure that we're creating jobs in our municipality, jobs for local people, and ensure that we continue to create a local economy so people can live locally and work locally. And that is one of the major things that I think is going to be the challenge of this council. It's been a great honour and a great privilege to be able to serve here with many previous councillors, and I look forward to working with this current council to make sure that we do get the best outcome for our community. I am a member of the Australian Labor Party and I represent the Brunswick area. It's a strong and proud tradition of Labor in Brunswick. It's the political party that has provided so much social change and progressive policies over 100 years. And I'm proud to be able to represent the Labor Party in this chamber going forward. I want to also acknowledge everyone who's assisted me in my campaign and provided support for me to be here. My success is not just mine alone, it belongs to each and every one of those people who has supported me, whether it be handing out how to vote cards on election day, or letterboxing, or door knocking, or doing one of numerous tasks that the campaign involves. It is a team effort, and to all of my campaign supporters and volunteers, thank you. I could not have done it without you. To my family, I want to acknowledge their presence here tonight and particularly thank them. My family migrated to this country in the 1960s and worked very hard to provide a better life for them and their children. So I'm very pleased and I'd like to acknowledge them, particularly my father who retired from the Ford factory in the last couple of months and stayed till the end until Ford shut down. So thank you to my parents for their support and for the values that they've instilled in me. To my mother in particular, who campaigned tirelessly every day at Freehold. Thank you for your support and for your love and everything that you provided to me. I hope that everything I do in this chamber, I always blame to make you proud. And to everyone else and to all residents, it is an honour and a great privilege, and we don't take this lightly at all. We hope that we, as a council, can meet your expectations of us and do the best that we could do to make Moreland an even better place to live. Thank you.
Councillor Yildiz.
I too want to begin by acknowledging that my lands are here and want to pay my respects to elders past and present. I too want to thank the voters of the North West Ward for entrusting me again, for having faith in me being able to serve this fantastic municipality for another 4 years. I want to thank my family and friends, from my sister delivering breakfast and coffee at the polling booth to my fantastic family who delivered, from the brochures to standing in that rain on election day. One thing I'll never forget is the fact that I was pinching myself and how many of our supporters were out there, my supporters, were out there handing out how-to-vote cards in that wind and in that rain. I want to thank my parents for choosing definitely what is the best country in the world, but definitely one of the best cities in this country. And being born and raised here, I went to schools from Coburg North to Coburg High. I've taught in some schools in the area. I love this city. I still live here, always have, except for some time spent in Merri-bek. But this has always been home. Even if I go away, I get homesick very quickly because I love the city. I want to thank my neighbours. My neighbours are here, and I've got a really good neighbourhood. Literally, I think there's about 10 houses. Everyone knows each other, and I want to thank them. They're here again today. Representatives from 40 in particular, Arlen Holpich, who lost his son 7 years ago to suicide, and he's always been by my side, so I want to thank you, mate. My wife Sylvia, my 2 girls, Lara and Alyssa, are here as well, and I put them through so much in the last 8 weeks. They've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly side of politics, and I'm actually quite embarrassed to put you guys through what you've seen in the last 8 weeks. And I want to thank you. I can't thank you enough for you guys, I guess, putting up with all that stress. But to my brothers, to my sister, to everyone that's gone through what has really been quite a painful 8 weeks, but the results have been incredible. And to be at home on that Saturday night with the fantastic supporters and my friends, to know that we were elected, I was elected on that night on primary votes, was something that was quite overwhelming. Can I also just acknowledge, of course, and congratulate the councillors that are here tonight, but also the candidates. We tend to forget the 48 candidates who really did try hard, and their families, and all you people here tonight. We reflect you, and I think most of us here, in particular myself, I will deliver on every promise I made during those door knocks, every promise I made during those discussions, to the best of my ability. I'll represent this city ethically, I'll represent it honestly, I'll do it with passion and tenacity, if I'm given the opportunity. And as I mentioned earlier, I breathe here, I eat here, I spend my massive council salary of $30,000 in Moreland, and will continue to do so. Can I also just once again acknowledge the staff, because we councillors are only as good as the staff. And to the directors, to the CEO, I feel like I've honestly come back home, been away for a couple of weeks, and we'll work with you guys as honestly as I can. I want to thank one guy in particular who has always been by my side, and as much as he's going to hate me saying this, Mehmet Tillum, who has been my rock. You've always got to have someone who's going to support you, and he's always been by my side. And again, I hope I haven't forgotten anyone, but from people looking out of the window here and looking at people like Dan Dutton, who was up till 2 a.m. Delivering those brochures. And look, honestly, just everyone's involved. My entire family here, my extended family here. I couldn't have done this without you, because I'm only as good as you guys being around me, so I can't forget your support. And yeah, it's been, Dale, it's been an interesting couple of weeks at pre-poll. I'm really pleased to have met such an incredible young man, and you, to people like Arlie, to Anna Lydia, who's to Natalie, to the newly elected councillors, to you, Mark. I really do wish you guys the best, and I think the next 4 years we can all work together and do some excellent things for this city, or work against each other and come out with no outcome. So I'm looking forward to working with you all, and congratulate everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I'd like to say a few words too. First of all, I want to thank the people of the North West Ward for the trust that they've placed into me. As many have mentioned around the table, it is a privilege, and it never stops being a privilege. It's an absolute honour that, and particularly as an independent, can I say, because obviously if people vote for a political party, they have aspirations that they agree with that party, but as an independent, they're actually voting for you. They believe in you as a person, and that's incredibly humbling. And so, I know, that is something that I continually have in front and centre of my mind. I was fortunate to be born into a family where community service was and has always been part of the makeup, the DNA of who we are. even people who were family members before who had died before I was even born. I learnt about their achievements and I learnt about what they believed in, and it's so true that in the formative years of your life as a child, that stays with you for the rest of your life. My grandmother died when I was 10 years old, but she echoes through me almost every day, the things that she did and the things she said. Councillor Tapanos talked about the history of the Labor Party in Brunswick. It's interesting that I'm an independent, but my history in Brunswick for Labor, my grandfather was the Member of Parliament for the Australian Labor Party for Carlton, but that included Brunswick, and Mum lived in Western Street. They grew up in Western Street, and he was a minister, state minister, and achieved enormous amounts, even though his name is long gone. And pretty well struck from record books, I'd say, in many ways. And my grandmother was an incredible woman, involving the leading person to try and stop the last woman in Australia being hanged at Pentridge, and a whole range of other achievements, including getting the prisoners out of Pentridge, the female prisoners out of Pentridge, and having the Fairley prison being built for female prisoners, among a thousand other things that they did. They were incredible people. And Natalie talked about standing on the shoulders of giants, and that's how I feel in my own family. And it does bear on me and I'm grateful to them. I was also fortunate that my very first job, I grew up in Grandview Avenue in Pascoe Vale South. My very first job was on Melville Road, working for Mr. Esselmont in the chemist, getting the scripts together and delivering them to ladies. Well, Mr. Esselmont, in the year I started working for him in 1969, became the mayor of Coburg for that year. And so the mayoral car would come up with the chauffeur and pick him up of an afternoon. And I suddenly found out at the age of 7, I knew what a mayor was. And I was just a twist of fate that I happened to work for him at that time. And his photo is in the area, the Coburg, former mayors of Coburg are in an area where the councillors go. And, you know, it's a bit of a shame they're not on display, public display, but it's something that every time I walk past, I look at Mr. Esselmont and think of working for him at that time. And anyway, it was just a twist of fate that happened. Can I say that I am extremely excited to work with the people that are around me. Joe Cannellan, or former councillor Joe Cannellan, who's one of the people I most admire in my life, I must say. She said to me a couple of weeks ago, when she found out after the election of who was elected, well, she said, you've got an arena and you've got the councillors that are fantastic. There's no excuses. If you don't do well in the next 4 years, there's something wrong. And it's exactly right. So you're spot on that, Joe. Can I also thank my wife, Margarita, who's in the public gallery, and her support, even though she told me for 12 months that I'm going to lose. But nightly. So thanks for that. Sometimes it's good to have a person that tells you those sort of things. So she certainly fills that role very well. I mentioned on the last council meeting before the election that, I mentioned to the people who were sitting on that side, who are now sitting here, that, a scene from The West Wing, which I think is the greatest TV series that's ever been made, of Leo McGarry saying that as the Chief of Staff of Jed Bartlett, he wrote up 365 days. In other words, they had a year to go in the term of Bartlett, and it's probably even more apt with the US presidential election in the next couple of days. And he said, you're going to have more in this 365 days opportunity to do things than you ever have in the rest of your life. Well, councillors, it's 1,447 days until the next council election. So we've got 1,447 days to achieve things that we won't have the privilege of doing again. Fortunately, 2020 is a leap year, so we get an extra day there. So that's our chance, councillors. We've got that time. We should use every moment of it, not only every day, but every moment of every day to try and improve this city to the best of our ability, and I'm confident that we will do that. So I'm looking forward to working with every single one of you. I'm looking forward to the next 4 years, and I'm looking forward to achieving the things that have been spoken about on the table, and others too. So thank you very much. Now, councillors, we need to actually get to work and consider 2 council reports. The first one is DCS 5516, the swearing in of the elected council. And if I could have a mover for I think it's on page 3 of the report. No. Councillor Ratnam
Recommendations?
of the recommend.
Yep.
Could I have a seconder? Councillor Bolton. Any discussion?
No discussion.
Councillor Bolton, any discussion? No. Any other councillors like to discuss? Okay, there being no further discussion, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. And the second council report relates to meeting dates for 2016. So it's DCS 5616, council meeting dates 2016. Could I have a mover for that report? Councillor Davidson. Could I have a seconder? Councillor Riley. You want to speak to that report? No. Any other councillor want to speak to the report? There being no discussion, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Now, councillors, we're about to close the meeting, but we're going to have a break for about 10 minutes so that we can say hello to people who have come. And then in 10 minutes' time, we're going to meet in Bell 1 and 2.